Hey everybody, Ken Gouchi back at you again with the Veterans Angle podcast. It's been about maybe even 4.5 months since my last episode. I'll tell you what, it has been a crazy couple of months, man. So, as most of you probably already know, last year I was incredibly sick with pancreatitis, and I was having some of my MS flare ups and stuff like that. And so I spent quite a bit of time in the hospital. And then right as I recovered, man, my last episode was me getting back from New York City with my son. And it was a great experience. It was a great trip. I was just feeling back to my normal self, back out there trying to tackle the world and, kick ass and take names. And let's see here. We got back from New York City on that Saturday. I made the new podcast. And then that following Monday, um, I got on my motorcycle to go down to my physical therapy appointment at the VA hospital. And lo and behold, I guess I just wasn't feeling good enough or something. And wasn't even going 3 miles an hour, man. I came up to a stop sign and my front tire just washed out a little bit, man. There was just a little bit of gravel on the road. And I ended up, I didn't drop my bike, but I ended up, when I put my leg down to brace myself, I ended up shattering my leg in 5 places in my upper tibia. So basically, my lower knee is just completely ruined. So I have been spending the last couple of months recovering from that and trying to rest and heal. So this little decision or this little accident, I guess, has really changed many things for me. For starters, man, I'll tell you guys, I try not to complain about the VA. I really do, man. I try everything in my power not to complain about the Veterans Administration because I am very grateful for what I have. I don't believe that anybody is owed anything. I don't believe that any veteran out there is owed medical benefits or any of that stuff, right? I mean, some of us were in the right, I wouldn't say the right place at the right time. I'd say some of us were in the wrong place at the wrong time and got injured. And, for those of us that were injured in war, that's a little bit different to me. But nonetheless, anybody who has ever been a part of the VA system knows how crazy stupid it is. And I'll tell you, just as an example, so when I broke my leg, like I said, I was already on my way to the VA for an appointment that morning. But I ended up having my wife take me down to the emergency room, down to the VA emergency room. And they actually got mad at me. The stupid ass dumb shit nurse in there. And man, I'm trying not to cuss anymore. I'm trying not to slam anybody. I'm really not. They actually got mad at me for going to their ER room. This nurse was like, "You should have gone to a trauma center." And I'm looking at her like, "What the fuck is that? What is a trauma center?" I've never even heard. It's like, so in emergency, you're not supposed to go to the emergency room. It's like, where are these trauma centers that I'm supposed to go to? And is the VA going to pay for it once I get there? That's my biggest concern because I'm not gonna spend any of my money if I don't have to. So anyway, I went to the emergency room at the VA. They shot me up with I don't know, some fucking morphine or something, and basically sent me on my way. They were supposed to coordinate through the main hospital here called OU, right? Oklahoma University. They were supposed to coordinate for me to get a surgery, right? I was supposed to get needles or pins put into my leg to help me recover better. Now, keep in mind, this is 4 months ago, right? June 12th or something like that was the day that I actually had the accident. So anyway, the VA, when I went to the emergency room, there's really nothing that you can do there. I mean, they just kind of tell you what they want you to hear, and then they kind of send you on your way. But they told me, they said, listen, OU is supposed to call you in a couple of weeks to schedule this appointment. So it's like, okay. So I wait for a couple of weeks and nobody calls me. So I called down to the OU hospital and I'm like, hey, man, I'm supposed to have a damn surgery. My leg is in pain. And OU hospital tells me, we don't know anything about this. The VA never got any information over for Okay, no problem. So since I didn't go through my primary care provider, I had no idea who to even contact in the VA. So several more weeks goes by, and basically it got to the point where I was basically able to start walking again. And then all of a sudden, the VA is like, "Oh, well, why did you miss this appointment?" And it's like, you stupid motherfuckers, I was trying. Nobody is there to help you in the VA, and man, it sucks. They expect everybody to just make their own appointments and follow up themselves, and it's just crazy. Long story short, now I'm going on 4 months. I never got the surgery. So my leg has not healed correctly. The VA did finally set me up with some physical therapy. I just went to my one of my physical therapy appointments this morning, and that's helping tremendously. But man, the surgery, it's like, you guys wanted me to do this. You told me, you got mad at me for even going to the emergency room. And then supposedly they set up this big, huge coordination with OU, and it never happened. Like I said, I'm not here to complain about this. I'm just letting everybody kind of know what's going on with my situation. So, about 2 weeks after I broke my leg, I was still in pretty hardcore recovery. Like I said, the VA just basically forgot about me. No problem. Then, about 2 weeks after I broke my leg, my son, uh, one day, he just didn't look right. And I was in bed, so I was not up, I was not mobilized, and my wife had been, running her business every day and hadn't been home. So it was just me and my son at home, and I wasn't really paying any attention to him because he was kind of the one taking care of me. And man, one day we noticed that he was losing a little bit of weight, and we didn't really think much of it. Here again, since I broke my leg, we haven't been going to the gym. So it was odd that he was losing weight instead of gaining weight, but he was starting to look really thin. Anyway, one day, man, he just got all lethargic and he couldn't talk. And it scared the hell out of us. So we ran him over to the emergency room, and come to find out, he was in ketoacidic shock. His A1C was like 14, and he had, basically like a 600, like 600 plus blood sugar level. So, the Children's Hospital here in Oklahoma, man, they did a fantastic job. We figured out that he has type 1 diabetes, which is crazy. Nobody in my family has ever had type 1 diabetes. We've had people that have struggled with type 2 diabetes, but nobody has ever struggled with type 1 diabetes in my family. And it was the scariest thing that I have ever experienced in my life. So, me with a broken leg, I ended up spending a week in the hospital in the ICU with my son as they were, basically bringing him out of his comatose ketoacidic issues and bringing him back into, health. And I mean, man, it was just terribly scary. The second night that me and him were in the hospital, my wife's mother died. So, man, we've got all these things that are just piling up and piling up and piling up. And it's like, man, I mean, well, you all know, man, it's very stressful. And then with all the other political things that were going on, the election and all this other kind of stuff, everything that's happening in the world, it just, man, it felt like my whole world was kind of crushing down and coming down on top of me. But um, I am feeling better. I'm up and walking around. Me and my son are doing good things. We've got his type 1 diabetes figured out to where we know his insulin levels and everything. We're monitoring him. And so now that I'm finally kind of calming down again, now I can kind of get back into this whole podcasting thing and start making some better videos and kind of talking to people and stuff. And so I've actually got a couple of guests lined up uh, to start telling more veteran stories and stuff like that. I've got a buddy right down the street. So next week episode is going to be me and him talking and trying to kind of share some of his issues and stuff. Man, he's got a story. I'll tell you what, he's got a story. But anyway, kind of back to my last episode. I know it's been a while, so I apologize for the break, but I do plan on kind of hitting this hard again. I've also got a couple of other podcasts that I'm going to be working on and a few other things. I'm really going to be focusing here coming up in the next, because basically I'm semi-retired, guys. I don't really have a whole lot to do anymore. I've kind of let all my businesses just kind of, run themselves out, and you know, I just don't really have the time or the patience for dealing with mass society anymore. So I try not to go out as much as possible. But if I'm not spending time with my wife or kids, this is something else that I'm also going to start talking about a little bit. I'm gonna kind of start diving back into the masculinity aspect. With my previous podcast, for all you guys that started out watching me in the beginning, like when I had when I still had like wienerfight.com, right? That was my old podcast. And as most of you probably know, right, I started out as the Midnight Riders, right? And then I got banned off of YouTube. They kicked me off. And then kind of that same thing kind of happened with Wienerfied, where I was primarily on Rumble because YouTube wouldn't allow me, every video I would make, they would basically delete it. Um, so I'm trying to tamp down my rhetoric a little bit. I don't want to yell and scream like I used to, and I don't have the health for that anyway. But I do want to start talking about important things. I want to start talking about masculinity again. I want to start talking about things like polygyny, right? Things that you talk to normal people about. Oh, no, no, he's one of those guys. All right. Yeah, I'm one of those guys. And for anybody who's been following me for the last 5 or 6 years, y'all kind of know this is what my life revolves around. So, anyway, I just wanted to put a quick filler out there to let everybody know that I'm still around. I am back in good health. I'm feeling fine. My pancreatitis is almost completely gone. I've still got some kidney issues. Um, but after they removed the tumor out of my stomach last year, that helped a lot. I still have some kidney and some gallbladder issues, and maybe even some liver issues. But my heart is doing good. I had a clogged artery. My lower artery on my heart was clogged, and so they had me on all kinds of statin drugs and all kinds of other shit. And I don't think any of it was doing anything for me. So I kind of just quit that, and I'm not really focusing on that anymore. I'm really focusing more on my pancreas, my kidneys, and my gallbladder because those were the problem areas. And obviously my other issues, I've still got all my neurological stuff and all that. That stuff's never going to go away. I'll probably be in a wheelchair within the next couple of years, but hopefully not. But anyway, I just really wanted to touch base with everybody and let you all know that I have not forgotten about you and I am not done doing this podcasting stuff. It's just there was a couple of things that went on. Like I said, a broken leg, my son coming down with diabetes, my mother-in-law dying, right? A whole bunch of different things that came down the chain, and then I mean, man, I was getting so tired of dealing with people, especially on the political side, man. I mean, fucking A. For everybody who used to watch this podcast, right, when it was me and my two buddies doing it, I'm not going to mention their names. I'm never going to bring them into this again. But for those of you who watched all those episodes, right, I mean, we had 2 full years full of episodes that we made. And our biggest contention point was politics, right? And it's just, it upsets me. I mean, look, man, one of the things that we have in this country that nobody else has is the freedom to vote, right? The freedom to vote for whoever the hell you want. Now, several years ago, I don't know if y'all remember, but I made an episode uh, on my Wienerfied podcast about the dangers of political tribalism. And man, it is crazy to me how serious people get when they start talking about politics. It's like they don't seem to understand that it doesn't matter who the damn president is. Okay? Presidents don't run countries. Prime ministers don't run countries. Okay? The people who run countries are the business oligarchs who pay for government. And if people knew their heads from their asses, they would realize that it makes no difference. Trump, Biden, Camel Toe, whoever, it makes no difference who is in office. All they are is a mouthpiece. All they are is a talking point to try to push the narrative of the oligarchs who are paying them to be there. And it's kind of funny how everybody thinks like I saw a comment on Twitter one day. It was the crazy. This dude was like, "It's so sad to see Elon Musk being played as the puppet." It's like, do you really think Elon Musk is the puppet here? Do you really think that the second richest man in the world is letting himself be played as the puppet? The dude who can fly to Mars if he wants to, and you think that everybody's the one controlling him. Man, this is what I mean. Political tribalism is so dangerous that it literally makes people stop using common sense. Now, one of the things that ended my relationship with my previous co-host was our difference in political ideology, right? And one of the things that I try to push out there is that it makes no difference to me who's in charge. I'm going to do fine. I don't care who it is. And this is the difference between people who don't let government rule their lives compared to those of us who rule our own lives. If it makes that big of a difference to you as an individual, who the president is, then you are doing something wrong. And that's straight up God's honest truth. Now, I am very happy with the way that the election turned out. I kind of figured it was going to go that way. I did not vote this year. Okay, and I've been getting tore up for this all over Twitter and Facebook. I did not vote this year. I specifically left it up to chance. And I'm very happy that I did that. That was part of my plan. I knew coming into this election season, I've known for several years, I've known really since the last election that was stolen. I've known since then that I was probably not going to vote in this election. Not voting is still a vote. And I don't care who you are. I just happen to be one of the lucky guys out there who's earned my right to vote however I want. But every single one of you has that freedom, and you should not allow someone else to dictate how you vote. It is literally one of the key elements of our constitutional freedoms that so many people just don't understand. So, I did not vote this year. Not voting is still a vote. The simple truth is that none of these people represent me and my ideology. None of them. There's things that I like and there's things that I can see in every single person that has ever run that I can look at, objectively or subjectively, really. I can look at it and I can say, damn, I understand where they're coming from. I might not agree with it, but I can understand it. Because I refuse to be on a politically tribal team, right? It's kind of like religion. I talk to a lot of people about this. I refuse to belong to any organized religion. I have my own faith system. I don't need somebody else telling me how and who to believe in. So these are the things that I'm really going to start harping on here in these next coming episodes. And maybe I can get some people to actually use some common sense and talk with me about it. But if you're somebody out there that just wants to get your voice heard, let me know. Let me know. Come on the show and let's talk. You'll probably think that I'm just as stupid as everyone else. So don't let that stop you, though. Come on the show and talk to me. Tell me what's on your mind. So anyway, that's kind of it for today. I really just wanted to get back out there. I'm really kind of trying to mess around with my OBS setup and everything a little bit better too. And I am going to start pushing a lot of things out there. So let's just stay tuned and see if we can make it happen. I still think about y'all. I still love y'all. And if you're one of my old listeners, don't give up on this. It's still a cool podcast. And for all you naysayers out there who think you can do it better, let us know how that goes. So till next time, y'all take care.